Hey. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's Michael here. Today I am opening the books and walking you through exactly how much I have spent building in Ghana, from permits all the way to plastering. But before we jump into the numbers, let's rewind a bit, because this journey didn't start with a land purchase or a construction crew. It started with a visit home in 2019 that changed everything. Before that trip, I honestly didn't see the need to build in Ghana. I was focused more so on my life here in the US, being a great husband, raising my handsome kids, advancing my career, and trying to balance everything. Ghana was always home and will always be home, but it wasn't part of my immediate plans. However, when I got there and saw how my family was living, I couldn't unsee it. I knew I had to do something. My mom was retired after so many years of working 7 days a week to raise 5 kids. She did her best, and now it was our turn to take it from where she left off. At first, the plan was to renovate her home and build it into a story building, something modest but functional. But as we started mapping things out, I had a change of heart. I realized this wasn't just a renovation project. This was a chance to preserve her legacy, to modernize the very home that held so many memories, and to make it strong enough for the future. So we updated it instead, thoroughly. We added new bathrooms, air conditioners, POP ceilings, kitchen cabinets, new windows, tile floorings, a borehole. What else? We did the plastering on the fence wall and even poured concrete on the compound to prep for future tiling. But even after all that, one thing was very clear. The space was not enough for my wife, my 3 boys, and myself when we visit Ghana. My first instinct was to go and buy land and build from scratch. But then I paused. Buying land would have meant building far outside the city. That distance would have made it hard or difficult for my brother to supervise the work. And hiring someone to live on the site full time and watch over everything, that would have been another layer of cost and stress. And I didn't want to go through all of that. And then this hit me. Why not build on the land we already have? Why not honor my mom's legacy and fit this new structure into the existing space? By doing so, we will keep the soul of the place intact while upgrading everything around it. And that's exactly what we did. Looking back now, I feel like that's the smartest decision I've made, because I can leave this project for years and not do anything about it, and there'll always be someone at home to make sure everything still stay intact. All right, now let's get into the numbers. I have tracked almost every expense from day one, and I am going to share them with you. I'll give you the US dollars and the Ghana cedis side by side. For context, the square footage of this building is about 4,500 square feet. Don't quote me on that, but it's somewhere around there because, you know, we've been, we did some county liver and some stuff. So the space definitely it's a little bit more than that, but let's go with 4,500 for now. Let's start with architectural plans and permit. On the plans, getting the permit and all that, I spent $1,987.34. And at that time, that was 21,956 cedis. You know, before you even dig a shovel into the ground, you need a plan. And not just any plan, something that meets building code, local approval, and your long-term goals. These drawings became the foundation of the entire process, from engineering to permit to what kind of materials we could use. Now, the next expenditure I had was the foundation. I spent $7,203.62, and that was equivalent to 85,400 cedis. Now, this is where the real build begins. And let me tell you, a solid foundation is everything. Depending on your location, you need to dig deep, deal with water tables, and pour thick, reinforced concrete that will support the entire structure above. We did not cut corners here. We built it to last, no shortcuts. This stage alone gave me more peace of mind than any other stage, to be honest. This cost included the excavation, the concrete, the block work, the steel, and the labor, of course. Now, after the foundation was done, we did the first floor block work. So the first floor block work, this is what happened. During that time, things got a little complicated. I had just started a new job, and my wife was hospitalized with some pregnancy complications. My life was chaotic. I didn't track this phase properly at all. But looking at the cost of the second and third floor block work, I have estimated the first floor block work at about $3,043.52. That's my estimate. And what I did was I took the cost of the second floor block work and the third floor block work and divided it by 2 to come to the estimate, just to give me an idea, right? I could have gone to my the app that I was using to send money to try to figure it out, but I didn't feel like doing that. But so let's go with the estimate for now. The second floor, so after we did the first floor, then we have to do the concrete slab that will become the base for the second floor. And that costed me, that was one of my biggest expense. That costed me $10,353.36. That was equivalent to 115,000 cedis, 115,040 cedis. This was one of the biggest investments and one of the most crucial ones. I'll tell you why. The decking is the thick reinforced slab concrete that separates the floor, right? It is heavy duty. It supports your upstairs room, your ceiling, and everything that sits on it. You need wood formwork, strong steel or rebar, skilled labor. Talking about the guy that put the steel mesh all together, and you need some serious precision when it comes to the slabs. This isn't a place to go cheap. One mistake in the decking and you'll be repairing cracks forever or worse. I chose to purchase all the wood I needed instead of renting it. We used the wood for the other deckings too, so it was after doing my buy or rent analysis, it made sense to buy the wood, and also that contributed to the cost being high at this stage. So the next phase was once the second floor slab was done, you have to let it cure for 3 weeks, right? And so once that was cured, we started the block work for the second floor. And the second floor block work costed me $2,593.62. That was equivalent to 29,472 cedis. This is when the building started to look like something for real. Walls were going up, the spaces were taking shape. It's amazing how fast the vision becomes real once you hit this phase. This one was done with better planning, materials, transport, and mason work. It all added up, but I stayed consistent, right? And so once the second floor was done, then we did the third floor decking or concrete slab. This time around, I didn't have to purchase any more wood, so that cost was cheaper than the second floor decking. So it costed me $7,211.21, and that was equivalent to 89,465 cedis. And so once that cured for 3 weeks, we did the third floor block work. And that costed me $3,493.41. And that was equivalent to 44,420 cedis. And so now we are at the third floor, right? Initially, the plan was to do secret roofing at this point. But we've built, I think it was during the first floor block work or second floor decking, somewhere around there, that we decided we were going to have a rooftop. So we made sure that our structure, everything, all the pillars were 16 mm, 6 rods or 8 rods, however it was. I think it was 8 or 6, something like that, throughout. So the structure was strong enough. So when we got to the third floor block work, we did the next decking, right? We already had the wood, so all I needed was the steel and the material. Roofing is cheaper, right, than doing another decking, but I chose decking so I can have the additional space. So for the rooftop decking, it costed me $7,698.66. And this one was a little bit more expensive than the other decking and the second floor decking or third floor decking. That was equivalent to 101,000 cedis, 349. Am I saying that right? 101,349 cedis. There you go. So we did that, right? We did a rooftop decking, and then we laid 5x5 course of block all around it, and then we did the block work that goes over the stairs, and so that came up to $1,787.39, and that was equivalent to 25,245 cedis and 80 pesos. So we did that, and then we did a covering that goes that covers a portion of the rooftop. So that was also a decking that had to go there. So that decking and its block work was $5,666.97. And that was equivalent to 85,791 and 88 cedis. I didn't say that right. 85,791 cedis and 88 pesos. The next cost I had was the electrical pipe work in the entire building, right? And so that costed me $1,791.73. And that was equivalent to 26,053 cedis and 96 pesos. The next cost was plumbing the entire house. All my plumbing ran up to the last floor. That's on top of the rooftop covering, because that's where my poly tanks will sit, my solar water heater will sit, and my solar panels. So we ran all the plumbing pipe work up there, and that costed me $1,021 flat, and that was equivalent to 14,394 cedis. And then the biggest expenditure of all, well, besides, I think that's the biggest expenditure, was plastering. So plastering both the interior and the exterior walls costed me $11,154.85. And that was equivalent to 171,367 cedis and 17 pesos. Internal plastering is where things really started feeling like home. If you've been watching my video, you could finally walk through the rooms and imagine what they will be. We finished strong with the exterior plaster, and it tied everything together and made the structure feel complete from the outside. Now we did the coping. So I did the coping for the building and the coping for the fence wall. So I know the fence wall isn't really part of the building, but I was paying for it at once, so I added it to it. So the coping costed me $1,512.51. And that was equivalent to 23,275 cedis and 84 pesos. So if you were following and you added everything up, excluding the estimate of the first floor block work, the grand total comes to $63,475.67. If we want to include the estimate for the first floor block work, let's just run it up to like $66,000 and round the cedi equivalent to about, what I'll say, 835,000 roughly. So 66,000 and 835,000 cedis, $66,000, 835,000 cedis, right? Now I decided to do this video just to show something, right? If I was building this house now at the same cost, that would mean that I would spend, at this point, I would have spent $84,000. So considering that I started when I did, I'm only spending about $66,000, right? And keep in mind, I did this project phase by phase. No loans and no big lump sum. Just intentional progress, one step at a time. Let me close out with this. This building isn't a flex. I've said that several times. Um, to me, it's always about legacy, having a place to, you know, call my own when I go home, spread out, you know. When I look at this house, I don't just see concrete or mortar or anything like that. I see my mother's strength, my family's story, and a place for my children to return to. Like, one of my biggest dreams is for my sons to go do an exchange program in Ghana and stay with their grandma or their relatives, or cousins, uncles, aunts in Ghana, and have a place they can, spread out and be comfortable in. So, to me, you don't need 5 acres or a beachfront view to build something meaningful. Sometimes the most valuable land is the one that already holds your root. So if you're in Ghana or in the diaspora watching this, wondering where to begin, start with what you have. It could just be that you have the land, or you have the knowledge of construction, or you just have the network that can help you maybe buy a half plot of land somewhere. Whatever it is, start with an intention. Build for your family and build with patience. Build with a purpose, because when you do, you're not just building a house, you're building a legacy. Think what? By now I should call myself Mr. Legacy. My wife said I should cut it out with all the motivational stuff, but I know how I felt or what my mindset was before 2019. And so I want to be that inspiration to someone, I want to be that motivation to someone who was like me a few years ago, who had no intention of building. Anyway, thank you for watching. If this inspired you or gave you clarity, go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe. Let's keep sharing the real stories behind the builds. Let's keep lifting each other up. And until the next time, stay grounded, stay grateful, and keep building forward. Until my next video, catch you. Bye-bye.